You are watching Limited Resources Draft Series on MTGO Academy featuring Marshall Sutcliffe.
Hey guys, Marshall here from Limited Resources doing yet another video on MTGOacademy.com. We're doing some vintage masters. Been having a lot of fun with this set still. Things have settled down a bit as far as what the strategies are, and it's good to know that going into the draft portion here. Our rare, Plead for Power. A lot of words. Basically says 3 and a blue sorcery, draw 3 cards, which is decent, but you got to remember that this set also has at non-rare levels Factor Fiction and Deep Analysis, and I think that those are both probably a little better than Plead for Power, so not super stoked on it. I think the card I really want here is Goblin Ringleader, and let's see if we can't make ourselves a Goblin deck here. So we got past a decent rare here with Jareth. He's 6 mana for a 4/7, which is a little bit weird, but it basically can kill anything on the blocks, and it's essentially unblockable in most scenarios, which is pretty decent. But 4 power for 6 mana isn't great either. What are our other options? Nothing great. Roar of the Worm is okay if you're discarding it. It's not amazing if you're not. Skirk Drill Sergeant is probably what we're going to take here just because it happens to be a goblin, and if we're going to build around Ringleader, we want that. Also, there's really nothing just pulling us in a strong direction. It's not like this is an Arrogant Worm. You know, it's not as good, so we'll just stick on the Goblin plan and see where we go from there. All right, well, I like this. Goblin Matron here. Is there anything else, though? Phantom Nomad's pretty good, but no, we'll just take the Goblin Matron here and just try to be mono goblins if we can. Here's a Berserk. Card can be pretty good, but usually not in a red weenie deck like this. Root Wall is pretty good. I love a Psychotog, but we're definitely nowhere near that. I'm just going to take, yeah, you guessed it, the Goblin. See how many of these things we can get. There's only been 1 per pack, so we're not going to be wheeling any goblins out of any of those packs, which is a little bit disappointing, but we'll see how this turns out. Ringleader's pretty powerful. Okay, no goblins in this pack, but there is a Spark Spray, Fires of Yavimaya, Phantom Nomad. There's a Douthie Mercenary, which is okay too. I'm not really seeing a whole lot else that I love here. Probably just want to take a Spark Spray. Either that or Phantom Nomad. I think that it's between those two. I think Nomad's a little stronger. We could take Fires of Yavimaya. It is pretty strong, though I'm not really sure how good green-red is. I don't think I've played that 2-color combo yet, and it doesn't look particularly powerful. This is one of the cards that makes it powerful, but I'll take the Spark Spray here and just try to stick to 1 color before we branch off into another. Okay, another Goblin Matron. I'm taking it. Flowstone Hellion's pretty decent too. Can hit really hard for 5, but I mean, when you're in a Goblin deck like this, Goblin Matron is just pure card advantage. Yeah, same thing. Same reasoning here. Goblin Patrol, it's a Goblin. I mean, Ringleader flips it. You can search it up, and you just need critical mass here. Now, the really powerful goblins, though, that we're going to be looking for, of course, are the 2 different Lords and Beetleback Chief. Really want to see a couple of Beetleback Chiefs in the 2nd and 3rd pack to make this deck tick. I'm not really seeing much here. I'm just going to take Orcish Lumberjack, though the subtle difference between being an Orc and a Goblin matters quite a bit here. Okay, I'm going to take this Blazing Spectre here. I think, black could be a secondary color pretty easy, and Blazing Spectre is pretty nice. Not much going on here. Maybe just take a Gilded Light. I guess if I wanted to keep the black cards, I could take an Urborg Rising, but it's just so not what you want to do in a deck like this. Now, I'll take a Renewed Faith. It cycles, right? Yeah, it cycles, and it's pretty annoying. Like, if somebody has that in their deck just for the cycles, and then they just randomly gain 6 life, like, they can kind of get you. So here's an interesting one. Fallen Ascari or Phantom Nomad. Phantom Nomad's quite a bit better as a card in general. But we did pick up Blazing Spectre, and maybe we want to play it. I'm going to hedge back to the Nomad here. I'm not convinced that Blazing Spectre is better than some of the white. Like, if we pick up a Battle Screech in the next pack, we're just going to ditch the Spectre anyway. And I don't think the 2-drop black card there was, like, super important. So I think I feel okay with that. Cutting these Claws of Wirewood just in case we do pick up a Battle Screech in the next pack. Should be obvious, but any goblins are going to be taking precedent over non-goblin cards with few exceptions. Well, that might be one of the exceptions. There's a Fire Blast here, but there's also a Scrubland. And part of playing Vintage Masters means that when you open up a duel or a valuable rare, you just kind of have to take it. It's so expensive to play this format that it's just not that realistic to ship away pricey cards. I mean, if it's not too many tickets, I can see it, but like in a spot like this, I feel pretty priced in to just take the Scrubland here. Also, there was no Goblin. I mean, the Fire Blast would have been fantastic for this deck, no doubt about it. Would definitely see play, but yeah, so it goes. All right, now we're in business. Lightning Dragon, Hulking Goblin, Lightning Rift, Soltari Trooper, and Battle Screech. So a lot of options here. Hulking Goblin certainly is one of them. Lightning Rift is sort of one of them. I mean, even just with us just dipping around, we've got one cycling card here, and then we've got the hidden one too. So there's things we can do, but I think we just went Battle Screech out of this pack. Like, I'm fine with being white. We've got the Phantom Nomad. I like that card anyway. Oh, geez. I'm going to take this Click Slither, actually. Oh, man, maybe I just actually ship it around. Maybe I take Fire Blast here and ship Click Slither, hoping to get it back. I mean, it's triple red, and the only deck that wants it is ours. There has to be another, like, dedicated Goblin deck out there to take Click Slither. Otherwise, we're going to get it back. It's insane in our deck. So I could definitely see just taking it and moving on. You know, we get to gobble up these Goblin Matrons and random dorks on the bottom end, and we'll probably get back a Patrol or a Prospector here. I think I'm going to gamble, though, and take the Fire Blast. We'll see if it works out for us there. Honestly, I wouldn't be shocked either way. Kindle, pretty easy pickup there. All right. Now we're in business. It's exactly what we want in a deck like this. You know, it combos so perfectly with cards like Goblin Matron. Well, I mean, I wouldn't mind taking a Prospector, but we're just taking the Torch here. But like with Prospector, Battle Screech, Matron, you know, these cards that just don't do much on the battlefield after they're there. Even like Goblin Ringleader. Think about that. Load up your hand. You know, maybe you draw 3 goblins if you get real lucky. And now you can just simply discard them to rights. It's really nice. So Shelter or Spark Spray or Aftershock. Probably just Spark Spraying here. We definitely want more goblins. If we get that Click Slither back, I'll feel real nice about it. But Fire Blast, I don't know. I feel like Fire Blast is probably close to what Click Slither can do. I mean, even in this deck, Fire Blast is so insane. And, you know, we'll know if it doesn't come back exactly what the deal is. All right, well, we're going to take Goblin Settler here, but I'm not as excited about that one. It's not bad, don't get me wrong. Okay, well, we got the first Fire Blast back, so that's good news. Come on, Click Slither. Get there. The annoying thing about Click Slither is that it's a rare as well, though. And sometimes if people just don't have a pick, they're just like, I'll take the rare. Where, like, if it was just an uncommon but did the exact same thing, they wouldn't take it. All right, Hulking Goblin, was that pack or was it this one? I thought it was that pack, but that means that the 2 1-drop goblins went? Maybe I got confused. Maybe it's out of the next pack. I'll just keep hoping that it was in the next pack. Boo. So that was this pack here with the 2 1-drops. All right. I mean, we did get a goblin back, so it's not all bad, but took a bit of a gamble. I'm still not clear how big the difference is, though, between Fire Blast and Click Slither, even in a goblin deck. My gut tells me that Fire Blast is somewhere in the range. We've got some nasty finishers here, too. Geez. Rites of Initiation. We can also do a turn where we tap out for Karavex Torch. Let's say we do 4 to them, and then go like Fire Blast. That closes out a game really quick. All right, are any of these good against us? I guess Jungle Worm's not the worst. What does this do? Yeah, life gain. Sure, we'll cut that one. Probably don't need Scrubland. Wouldn't mind just being mono red here if we can help it. I mean, Battle Screech is excellent. Phantom Nomad's okay. Don't think we're going to get quite enough picks to get to that point, though it's possible. The third pack has to go quite well for us, though. And I'm still really hoping we find some of the Lords for the 3-drop slot. I'll just keep this here for a minute because I like him. Oh, wow. We're going to take the Prospector because we need goblins, but having a Tangle floating around is really annoying. Like, I was pretty happy to actually just cut that there, and then I realized the other card was an actual goblin, so I can't. But, you know, when you go for the big Rites of Initiation turn and then they tangle you, it's just like, GG. But we know that there's one floating around, and the chances that we just pass it to the 1 or maybe 2 people in the whole draft that can actually play it. Also, the card's underrated, so people don't really pay attention to it. So it's like pretty unlikely that we bump into it, but we'll be reasonable about playing around it when we can. All right, Cruel Bargain, Radiant, Lightning Rift, another Goblin Matron. Radiant's decent, but I think not really what this deck wants necessarily. Lightning Rift is interesting. We've got 2 Spark Sprays. These don't do it. Okay, fine. That doesn't do it. All right, so we're not Lightning Rifting. I was going to take yet another Goblin Matron and try to just keep wheeling through. Oh, here's one. Smokestack? Wow, that art is savage too. Geez, that looks cool. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may put a soot counter on Smokestack at the beginning of each player's upkeep. That player sacks a permanent. So there's shenanigans where there's 2 triggers that go on the stack at the beginning of your upkeep, and you get to put the sacrifice something and then put the counter on it. That card can really lock out the game. It really can. Otherwise, we're taking a Goblin Commando, which isn't too bad, except for you'd much rather have it cost less thanks to like a Goblin Lord here. Yeah, I'll take the Goblin Commando, I guess. No red cards in sight. That's a little scary. Karn, no, he doesn't really do anything. Mongrels, the best card in this pack, but we can't take it. We could take a Trapper or a Templar. This kind of deck doesn't want a Mana Prism. Doesn't really want a Thopter Squadron that much either. It's just too slow. I'll take the Tapper, I guess. Or Trapper, I should say. I mean, it's both. All right, Lumberjack, Falter, Shelter. What does this do again? Interesting. That actually might be decent here. Probably, given our mana, are only going to be able to pump it once per turn, but that adds up really fast. All right, I'll take Battlecry here. Yeah, looks like we're getting boned here on red. This is disappointing, but that's okay. We've still got enough playables here. We should be okay. I think that I want another Trapper over this 100th Spark Spray or whatever. I mean, these can be quite nice. You know, sometimes your opponent just stabilizes and that's it. I was hoping to really skew our mana super heavy towards red, but it looks like we're creeping back over into 10-7 or 9-8 territory pretty quickly here. Yeah, we just unfortunately haven't found any of the powerful goblins. We've got ways to search them up sort of forever, but we don't have any of the lords, and we don't have any of the Beetleback chiefs either. And we're being cut mercilessly here. As you can see, there's nothing in goblins. The good news is we don't need goblins when we have Goblin Trenches, which is one of the best cards in the set. I hope I'm recording something cool too. And we'll find out in a little bit, but this was a great pickup for us here. Trenches is the nuts. Not much for us. An Aftershock, I suppose. Gilded Light, a Shelter. Shelter can be good. Not really what this type of deck wants to do, though. I guess we'll just take an Aftershock. I'm not a big fan of the card. It should be good. I just don't end up liking it. Wow, that was a nice one, though. Getting to Goblin Trenches at this point is fantastic because this third pack has been very dry for us, and it looks like we're not going to get Beetleback Chiefs or anything. So, you know, picking up a on-color gold card that just happens to be fantastic is great. All right, Goblin Ringleader number 2, get in there. And here's our wheel pack. There's a Tangle, a Phantom Nomad, though. I think we need to take that. So our curve can be properly low here. So basically what it looks like our deck is going to be able to do, I'm going to take the Smokestack and probably not run it. Oh, sweet. That's awesome. He's talking about the limited resources sleeves that I had made for the Kickstarter. They're also now publicly available. You can get them at cardkingdom.com. If you want to show your limited resources pride, that is one of the ways to do it. They've got playmats and deck boxes too. So yeah, this deck is going to be weird though. We get to Goblin Matron for like Goblin Ringleader, play Goblin Ringleader, maybe get a couple of random goblins, play those, play another Matron, and just build out our board and then try to go wide with Gerard's Battlecry, with Rites of Initiation, or sometimes just with so many creatures, right, that we're just like, we've got 6 creatures on the battlefield and they have 2 blockers. We tap one down, we attack with 5 of them, we, you know, get their life total down and just keep going to work. So that's the plan. The good news is basically all of our creatures are expendable. You know, we don't have one of those decks where it's like, well, if we make a Psychotog and it survives, it's like, no, you know, they can Swords to Plowshares anything on our whole pile and we don't really care. Which is kind of good and kind of bad. Probably just want one Spark Spray, actually. Maybe even not. Don't think we're going to be smoke stacking here. All right, so what are our cuts here? We're at 17. I can cut a Spark Spray. Not super important. I like the 17 creatures here. Feel like Kindle probably stays in, though. Rites is a must play. Maybe we can go to one Trapper here, as it's not a goblin and it's a little bit clunky. There's some matchups where it's going to be really, really good and some where it's just going to be okay. Goblin Settler's pretty weak. The main thing about it is just that it's a goblin, but it doesn't really do much else. Like blowing up a land at that point in the game is usually not great. I think we could probably even cut it. I mean, it makes our ringleaders a little bit worse. And it's nice to have floating around in your library when you've got a goblin matron, just in case they have a really annoying land that you want to get rid of. But like, I think that Nomad's better. I think Drill Sergeant's better. I think chaining matrons is better, because that's another thing you can do to kind of keep ahead on life, is just to play a matron, go get a, or on cards, I mean, is play a matron, get a matron, play a matron, get a matron, play a matron, get a matron, play a matron, get this, reload. You know, you can just chain them together if you find yourself in a position where your opponent's not really pressuring you that much. All right, let's give this thing a try. So this thing says 12-5, but I think that's a little extreme. I think this is a 10-7. It makes my Battle Screech a little bit sketchy, but it can be a later game play and still be good. It doesn't have to be a turn 4 play. Plus, flashing it back isn't easy for us. Sometimes it's just going to be a, make 2 birds. I mean, interestingly, we could also just cut it. Like, if we don't have a trapper or one of our 2 nomads, it's just two 1/1 flyers for 4 mana, which is actually playable, but not great, right? It's not as exciting as it normally is. These are white or what? Oh, they're red and white. Okay, so Goblin Trenches also gives us a few more creatures to Battle Screech up. Yeah, this is not the most powerful Battle Screech you've ever seen, but it still probably just pulls its weight here. All right, let's see what this Goblin deck can do.